All right, all right. Next topic is dealing with the Confederate flag. Now, as you know, the South Carolina legislation has allowed the Confederate flag to be taken down. And I think with that comes a lot of mixed emotions. There were people cheering, there are people feeling like their free speech is being violated.
Yeah.
You know,
Heritage being taken away from them.
definitely. That's a big thing. But I think the question is, was it the correct response, and was it an effective response? You know, is this going to be better for everybody involved? You know, white people who want to claim that heritage and take pride in it versus how it offends, our people.
Yeah. The way I feel about it, I mean, first off, I'm gonna say the flag should come down. It should have never been there in the first place. The South Carolina governor, I think Nikki Haley said that, which I think hindsight's 20/20, but common sense I think prevailed. Considering everything we know about the flag, it should have never been there. It was an idiotic thing. But sticking to the question, I don't think it's the correct response. Let's be honest about this. That flag isn't what poised Dylann Roof to kill those people in Charleston, South Carolina. And we were reading his manifesto.
Yeah.
And and the flag, it symbolizes hate. It symbolizes a nation of people that wanted to keep slaves. I mean, it was the whole point of the Civil War, is that they felt that it was their state's right to do whatever they want, and that included owning slaves. And the fact that that traitors, essentially, like the war symbol of traitors and people who believed in bigotry and discrimination, was allowed to fly, over the Capitol building of a state of the democracy. I kind of feel like that was a slap in the face. It's just like, how many defeated rebels, get to wave their flag around. Yeah. You don't really get to see that. I mean, seriously, like, well, why don't we just raise Britain's flag around? Right. Just like, we used to be you guys. Like, that doesn't happen anywhere else. Yeah. And another point, it's offensive because that flag resurfaced, in the 1940s as a major rallying cry for the KKK. I mean, seriously, that after the Civil War. That flag, the battle flag, not the actual Confederate flag, but their war flag, it kind of disappeared for a little while, and it resurfaced, with white supremacist groups, and it kind of became a symbol for them, and I think it was just really, really impressive.
Yeah, and I think that when we start getting in the semantics of it, and people like to fall back on, oh, it's my heritage, it's not a hate symbol, I think it gives people wiggle room to kind of deflect those type of accusations that it's a hate symbol. And with that, I do think it definitely needed to come down.
Yes, absolutely.
I think that if you're proud of your history in this country, that's great. We can go downtown through a Little Italy and see Italians waving the Italian flag,
right?
And
they're proud of who they are.
There's nothing wrong with pride, but when that pride is coupled with very recent bloodstain and hate speech,
right,
that's still going on today overtly,
right?
I think there's definitely something needs to be done about it.
Yeah, and I think we're missing the point on this. Like I said, that flag isn't what got Dylann Roof to shoot those 9 people in Charleston. It's what needs to be taken down is not the flags. It's the essentially the hate groups and the hate mongering groups, like the Council of Conservative Citizens, or even like groups like the KKK, who are allowed under our First Amendment law, they're basically just taking advantage of it and they're allowed to bring this kind of propaganda, and they're saying it's white pride, and it's just like, the KKK, they're not about white pride, because the KKK wasn't prominent until a certain small group of minorities tried to better themselves, tried to become equals in a country.
Absolutely.
Like, why? And like this is well documented and well known that the KKK was an extremely dangerous, extremely violent. They've hurt so many black people in this country, and we know what they represent. And people like them are allowed to exist, yeah, they're not allowed to, go around and attack black people and burn churches and yards anymore. But, the fact that, they just changed their approach, they just put down the gun and they picked up a keyboard. Seriously, it's crowdsourcing terrorism, just like ISIS. It is. No, seriously, yeah. It is. It's just basically, like, hey, we can't pick up the gun, but we're just going to create a bunch of young, hateful, misguided youth, and we're going to give them no context and no perspective, and tell them that blacks are the enemy. We're going to tell them that whites are superior, and let's make this clear, this isn't all white people. It's just, there are lots of organizations like that. Like I said, the Council of Conservative Citizens, and obviously the KKK, and many others.
Yeah, White Storm.
White Pride TV, things like that. We've done our research on this. Like, it's hate mongering. Yeah. And like I said, it's crowdsourced terrorism. They're building Dylann Roofs, like he said in his manifesto. All he did was Google black on white crime.
He was the scary. I think the most scary thing about this is that he wasn't a born and bred black hating person.
Yeah, he said his own family wasn't racist.
Not at all. So he definitely, was mature enough to understand the differences between what he's been raised with and what he got exposed to that led him to make the decisions he made, unfortunately. And, reading his manifesto, I was offended.
How could you not?
Right. We read it. It was disgusting. And I think, the problem is, I think it's a problem with the culture, the limited perspective on history, because, a lot of it comes from the inherent belief that, white people are superior.
Right.
And they feel like, they're globally they're superior, and that when we see, black people involved in different cultures and races around the world, when we find, people of melanated skin, they feel like something's being taken away from them that they have to conserve.
Yeah.
They consider...
they feel like they're under attack.
Yeah, they feel that integration is white genocide.
Yeah.
And that's...
Which is just like, considering historically all that's happened, it's just like, as a black guy, I'm like, really? Like, who are you being attacked by? Like, to me, it's so, and I don't mean to laugh, but it's so ridiculous, like, the way these people work and they spin it. Because it's just like, if you let them tell it, you'd think they were the ones that had, fire hoses and rock wilders and churches burned down and people lynched and beaten and thrown in the lakes and rivers. Right. Like, you would think that was, the history of their people. But in reality, they're 66% of the population and they're immigrants. That's the fact that these people and like I say, it's not all white people. It's only the extremely radicalized, misguided, hateful bigots,
Well,
which I think is a minority, obviously. But
see, I wouldn't take that perspective on it, because I think, like I said, with Dylann Roof, we saw them engineer this from someone who didn't have it in them, and I think, that shows the effectiveness of the programming that they can apply, and all it took was him to highlight black on white crime, but I feel like in a parallel vein, we can say that, black people get upset that all we see is, us represented as, violent, angry, misguided, belligerent, when we have so much more to offer. We have such a small space, when it comes to the media, when all we get to be seen as is that, then it just it's part of the cycle that creates more Dylann Roofs.
Yeah, no, it is. But I can't focus on that.
Right.
Just because, like, I'm seeing, like I said, these organizations, like, they're putting so much effort into making, like, people like him, and another thing too, I'm seeing a lot of people blame gun laws, and I think this is a good example of when I say, like, we're completely missing the point on this. We blamed the flag, we blamed a rebel nation that hasn't been around for 100+ years. We're worrying about things like that, where in reality, right under the guise of free speech, we have multiple, very easy to access organizations that subconsciously are brewing people like this. And I think it's a problem. We need to take down these organizations, not the flag. Well, the flag too, but these organizations need to come down. That needs to be our priority. And I think this is where our freedom hurts us in America, because it protects everybody. It protects the bad guys too.
Yeah, in the interest of fairness.
Yeah, and I'm just scared, that, all of our freedom is going to be what hurts us in the end. Because, as free as we are, and things that we can say, is like, as long as we have, a group of people, breeding this kind of ignorant mindset, like, I feel that this will not get any better, and it has a chance to get a lot worse.
Well,
I do.
No, I think I said, I'm going to make a point, and I think I said this to you before. The reason why I don't think we'll come to a uniform conclusion on, it being right or wrong, is because, America is a melting pot.
Right.
And I think that, people are gonna, there's always gonna be those pockets of people who section themselves off from the group and be with people who are more like them, by race.
Right.
So you're gonna,
among other things, class too.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, but I think, with the issue of race, that's going to always, be a breeding ground for more people like this. As long as you have, conservative white people who believe that they need to take their country back,
right, or
do something about the black problem. I don't think we're gonna see this problem going away for a long time.
No, I don't either. And it scares me. It's like, is he a blip on the radar, or is he just a sign of what's to come? I don't know anymore. Did you say, like, racism was only with the old white people? He was 21. He's younger than both of us.
And even
that's new hatred.
Definitely. But and another scary thing is, I think that these organizations, they know what they're doing.
Yeah, they're very calculated.
They're very calculated because if you saw,
if you get a chance, check out Council of Conservatives and understand what we're talking about, and go and check out, like, the official Ku Klux Klan website and things like White Pride TV, all of that. Check it all out to understand what we're talking about. Is that it's a very dangerous propaganda. Like, it is. It's a very dangerous propaganda. Like, take time to finish your point.
Well, and with that organization, we saw them kind of make sure that they distanced themselves away from Dylann Roof, even though Dylann Roof cited them as a
inspiration,
a genesis in becoming the person who he was for that short period of time before he got sent to prison. Yeah. So and
I think that's what we need to focus on. We have to get that out of here. Because I feel like this has a chance to be a lot worse. Yeah. I'd be so horrified if Dylann Roof became an inspiration for any other young, misguided
As long as we
kid.
have calculated groups like this who try a non-violent approach to creating people like Dylann, you're always going to have people like Dylann Roof when they look at those conditions, feel like they need to take this matter into their own hands and be the radical.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess it's subtle crowdsourced terrorism.
Yeah,
like it is. It's not dissimilar to the approach of ISIS. You know, it is. It's domestic. To me, Dylann Roof is a domestic terrorist, right. And sites like this are subliminally creating domestic terrorists, and it needs to be dealt.
Thank you for watching our first episode of Young Black Men. If you have any comments, let us know below in the comment box below, or you can message us here on YouTube of other subjects you'd like us to cover. And thank you, and see you next time.
Peace.